Hello, welcome back to Malls on Mission. I'm Philip,
And I'm Anna.
and this is our podcast. All right, Anna, are you ready for my question today?
I never know. I always get so nervous at this part.
Okay, so my question is, can you tell me a time when you went to the wrong place? Just any time, any place, any scenario. Do you have any stories of a time you went to the wrong place?
Okay, the first one that comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
I was probably, goodness, I was probably 9. And oh no, we had just moved into this house. So I was like 8.
Okay.
And apparently I took a wrong turn leaving my bedroom in the middle of the night.
And walked into the wall or what?
No, I was not really awake.
Okay.
So, leaving the bedroom, if you turn to the right and go down the hall, there is a bathroom. If you turn
Uh-huh.
to the left and walk the rest of the way down the hall, there is a closet.
Okay.
Apparently, I went to the closet in the middle of the night and used the bathroom.
You mean you used the closet?
I I went to the not water closet
Oh my
and
gosh. You went to the
I
dry closet?
My dad, I only knew because my dad heard running water, what he thought was running water, so he comes out and he looks.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he sees me sitting on a box. This is so TMI.
It's a little
And
TMI, but
my dad just goes, Anna, what you doing? And apparently I said, going to the bathroom. Like it was the
oh
most
my
obvious
gosh.
thing. Like, why would you be asking me
Oh
that?
my gosh.
Clearly, this is what I'm doing. I went
Oh
to
my
the wrong
gosh.
place. So anyway, there's that
That's,
we can just go put
that
on the
went
internet.
way better than I thought it was going to.
I have no shame.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
trust the people listening to this podcast
Yeah.
to not judge me too hard for
Oh
what I
my
did at 8
goodness.
years old.
I just love the idea of your like kind of frustrated response of like, I'm going to the bathroom. Why are you asking me? Oh
And
man.
what's the worst part about it is I went back to bed and left my dad to clean it up.
Oh my gosh. Oh
At
wow.
least that's what I assume happened
Oh my
because
goodness. You don't remember the rest of the story?
well, I was still
Asleep pretty
asleep,
much.
I guess.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I don't think I have a story that can top that. We might just leave it at this one, at that story.
No, that's not fair.
Time when I went to the wrong place. The most prominent one that comes to mind for me is my boss and I. We were traveling to Mexico to work on an airplane. He had sold an airplane to this guy who kept it in Mexico, and that guy, because, I mean, helped build the plane for him, would hire my boss, whose name I just said out loud. So I might redact that. Would hire him to go and continue to do the maintenance on it, just because he knows the plane super well. So we're traveling in Mexico. I'm in the Mexican airport, and I cannot remember. I think this is like it was like we flew into the main airport and we had to take another leg somewhere else. So I'm not technically at my destination yet. We haven't cleared customs at this point. So we're still traveling with the international side of the terminal and the international like traffic. And I apparently step across some boundary that is the boundary between the international and the domestic. There's not like a door that I walked through. There was like a really large doorway, but it was like, the width of a room. And I cross, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like the right direction. And I turn around, and then there's a security guard in my way. He's like, you cannot go there. I was like, I just came from there. He's like, that's the international. Like, you can't go there. You have to go through customs. I'm like, I haven't technically cleared customs to come into your country, so I have to clear customs again to go back out. And it's just like he would not let me walk back through this opening that I had
Are
just
you
walked
alone
through.
at this point, or
I mean, my boss is standing there on the other side, just like, why can't you come over? So we're both like, what is happening? So I walked away, and I found a door that led back into the international terminal. And so I technically snuck out of Mexico, or into and out of Mexico, in the span of about 5 minutes. So that was the time I accidentally went to the wrong place.
cool story, bro?
Yeah, pretty fantastic. Should we get on to the updates? Because we have some big and exciting news.
Yep. For
All right.
anybody who hasn't read the newsletter
Yes.
at this point.
Update time.
It's a little late because we're midway through the month.
Yes, it is. I have been very bad at getting us scheduled for this podcast.
And days just run together for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what day it is. What's today?
We've been having too much fun playing with our child.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So this will not be a regular thing getting it out this month, but it is this month. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's let the people journey with us so that they can receive the news with joy, like we
Can we
have
put
received
the little
the news with joy.
music?
I can try to find some free doodle music.
You could just use mine.
That's
That
perfect.
ethereal.
I'm going to use that. Yep. Yep, I'm going to use that. News with joy.
Music.
When was this? This was June that we received word that JARS wanted us there for full-time training at the beginning of September. Mm-hmm. Because of the way we've restructured things, we want you here at the beginning of September so that you can start the program with, the 10 other people that are starting the program. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a intensive month or two of classroom time that really sets the tone for the rest of our training. So we really want you to be there then.
Don't miss that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were at 65%?
67, something
67%
like that. We were
of
in the
our
60s.
ministry budget.
Over halfway.
So we were like, oh, well, okay, if the Lord wants it, we can do it. But it's taken us a year and a couple months to get to this point, and now we have 2 months to finish it off.
Yeah.
So it felt very daunting for us at first. And
it was a big...
lots of conversations had between us and between our supervisors of can we say yes to this program? Do we need to try to delay? Because, Wycliffe is really, they really emphasize wanting their missionaries to be at a sustainable point with their partnership team and their ministry budget, so that when they move to a location, they can stay at that location for the amount of time they need to.
They have a very clear phase type
Yep.
Onboarding process or a launching process.
Yeah.
So first phase was we were not finished with it, and they saw this training as second phase.
Yes.
So there was a little bit of
lots of discussions happening between us, between our supervisors at Wycliffe, and between our future trainers at JARS.
And everybody really worked hard to
make it happen.
To make sure everybody was communicating well.
It showed to us how much each of these entities care that, one, we get the training that we really need to get so that we can be effective in the work, but also we have the support behind us so that we can actually go and sustain whatever work that we're doing. So after many discussions, we basically came to the conclusion that, all right, if we can get to funding by that time, Wycliffe can streamline that process, and then we can just go and start. And they were very intentional with helping us, hey, what strategies do you need? What do you need from us? How can we help you get there?
And we were going into a vacation time. And so we had agreed, okay, we're going to enjoy vacation.
Yep.
Kind
couple
of treat
days
it
with my parents.
a bit of a sabbatical from all of it. And once that's done, we'll really hit it hard once we get back. And it was we on our way back from vacation, we got an email that had basically told us that we had jumped from 67 to like 75%. Like God had brought us
Yep.
a huge jump
Yep.
in, and we weren't even doing anything, which was so telling. Like, this is just so what God does.
Yeah.
He is at work on our behalf, and we can't make him do anything,
Yeah.
and we can't make things happen apart from him. And so it was just a gracious nod of, I the Lord am going to provide for you. You're
Yep.
not making this happen. I'm working. So that was a cool,
Yeah.
just learning.
Very
time.
encouraging for us of like, okay, it's not an insurmountable obstacle in front of us to
Right.
get there for this training. Not only are like all three, us and the two entities we're working with, all on board, but it feels like the Lord's behind us and he is helping to make the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And reminding us that he is the one to make the way,
Yes.
that we couldn't make it happen if it weren't
Yeah.
for him. So the fact that we took a rest
Yeah.
and God kept working was just so kind
Yes.
of him.
Yep.
And then
In the next couple weeks, a number of individuals who we'd been talking to for a couple months, who had expressed some interest in partnering with us and getting behind what we're doing, came behind and said, yes, we want to partner with you guys in these ways. And then one morning we get an email from our coach who just said, emails now, smiley face. So we open our emails, and basically a very, very generous individual partnered with Wycliffe to help a number of people reach 100% of their ministry budget. We were one of the ones selected for that tremendous honor and blessing. So we were in the course of about a month, I think, we went from 65 to 100%.
and we're still in shock that happened, because only the Lord.
Yes.
And so we're giving him all the praise.
Yes.
And we're also so very grateful for everyone that has partnered with us,
Yeah.
committed to praying for us
Yeah.
financially, and just encouraging us to
Yeah.
continue in the way that we feel called. Because there were several times where, like, are we just forcing this? Is this something that we're going to regret doing? And those of you who came around us and reminded us
Yeah.
of the call that has been placed on our lives, and also edified what they were seeing God doing in and through us, it's just invaluable.
Yeah.
So we are very grateful.
Yeah, it was
Pause,
just very encouraging to be like, this is no insurmountable goal, especially for the Lord. He really wants us here at this time, and everything has fallen in place for us to be able to move and start like full, without concern, without like our minds in two places.
Yeah.
Like, we just get to move and start and be fully present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, when we met with our partnership development coach for the last official meeting, one of the questions she asked is like, what have you learned
Yeah.
through this process? And obviously reminding us that this process is not ever over for a missionary.
Yeah.
Your partners are your partners. You maintain that. You're always going to be relying on the Lord to provide for you. But what have we learned in this initial PD
Yeah.
journey? And I realized just how grateful I am to have put
Yeah.
feet to faith in a way that felt very vulnerable,
Yeah.
but allowed the Lord to really come through.
Yeah.
I think in the wealth and abundance that we in the US just take for granted,
Yeah.
there's a lot less unknown. There's a lot less apparent
Lack or need
lack.
or
There's a lot of margin that
there's not much
It
felt
doesn't-
vulnerability.
doesn't allow us to see God providing on a daily basis. That whole daily bread prayer, just doesn't feel really relevant because there's a store right down the road. So putting Feet to Faith in a way that, okay, we really cannot make this work.
Yeah.
We're just going to wait and see what the Lord does. And knowing that whatever he does is going to be good and we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think it's such a gift to see on the outset of this missionary journey, because I know we're going to come back to this a lot of we can't make this work. Whatever it is, we're just going to have to see how God does it. So I am grateful for this period, as uncomfortable and stretching and
as it has been.
Yeah. Tenuous as it has felt at times. Yeah.
Yep.
And now we're moving to North Carolina at the end of this month.
Now we're moving.
In 2 weeks.
Moving and grooving. So we bought that used fifth wheel, and I did a little bit of fixer-upper on it. Put the new tires on it this week, so it's ready for that long journey. So, yeah. We're feeling it, so there's like the high of, wow, it's happening, we're going.
God wants us there.
And then there's the reality of like, oh, we have to say goodbye again to, I mean, we've been in Ocala for 8 months?
I think so.
Yeah, 8 months now. And we've been fairly intentional of like, not just connecting with people for, building our partnership base and growing our budget purposes, but engaging with people just to make friends and to grow deep relationships.
There's some really cool people here in Ocala, and we are heartbroken to leave the community that we've been given.
Yeah, last night we said goodbye to there's a young marrieds group that some individuals that Anna has known for a long time basically pulled us aside at church one day and were like, hey, we want to start a group because we see a need where young marrieds don't feel like they have a place to get together. Will you guys help us start it? And we're like, okay, we're pretty available, sure. And so we've gotten to see that blossom over the past. Man, when did we start that?
It was probably February.
It was probably February. And we had all 7 couples.
I don't know. It was a lot of people
there last night, and we kind of said our last goodbye, and we've been working on handing over leadership and stuff to the group, and it's like,
it's beautiful.
It feels like it's just starting to blossom. It's like you've helped plant this garden, and it's just starting to sprout, and you're like, the buds are there, but they haven't bloomed yet, and you're like, and time for me to move. And so there's the joy of like, there's this community that I really believe is going to keep being community.
It's going to continue.
And
hopefully we'll still be around when we come to visit.
Yes.
So we can still see all of these amazing people that we've grown to love so much.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And the youth group that I was helping with, they kind of disbanded for the summer. And so it will not be back up and going before we're gone. So I don't really get to say goodbye to those kids.
We went back to our home church in Tampa and had a beautiful time of fellowship, but also we got to dedicate Malachi in the presence of our church family down there, and then they commissioned us, and we said goodbye to a lot of beautiful, dear friends there
some
too.
People that have helped me. Like, I'm going to brag on our small group that was down in Tampa, just a little bit on this podcast. Like, I often think of the passage of the sheep and the goats when it comes to our group back in Tampa, where Jesus is like, no, you who, gave water to the thirsty and food to the hungry and clothed the unclothed and visited the sick and visited those in prison. Like, you are the ones who I am welcoming into my kingdom. And I'm like, I have not been a part of a group of whom that is more true feeling than that group in Tampa, where if somebody's sick, they're there bringing them a meal. They'll do ministry at the clubs in town to like try to reach out to the girls in the clubs, and it's like they really do try to meet and love people in whatever condition they're in, wherever they at. And yeah, I have been so blessed by that community and the other communities here in town. And you know, we met a young man, honestly, just a couple weeks ago, and we went to his little Baptist church where he serves, and he serves the older individuals in that church so beautifully. We got he got us in to share at that church, but then I was also just so blessed seeing, you know, this younger guy just absolutely loving on these individuals who, you know, are retired or need help getting into the church, and he makes sure they get in, and he makes sure they get their walkers when they're ready to leave, make sure they get back to their cars. Yeah, just all these people where it's like, when you start really intentionally being around the body of Christ in an area, I feel like you can pretty quickly get drawn into, where's the real genuine beautiful stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
And then to feel like we got to see all that and then move on to the next place is, I mean, it's beautiful and I'm so thankful that I've gotten to see and meet and experience. And it's also like, I wish I could be here longer to participate myself more. And yeah, so we want to be intentional to wherever we go next to also, you know, find that community and participate in whatever ways we can.
Yep. There are cool people everywhere.
There are.
But it's really hard to say goodbye to the cool people here.
Yes.
So
yes, it is.
Yeah, we've been processing through that and prepping our hearts for it. I have definitely felt like a protective, not shell, but like I've been retreating a little bit from emotions because I know how big it's gonna feel when we actually move. So focusing on just today.
Yeah.
But it's been a beautiful and refreshing season.
Yeah, it has.
A lot of rest, a lot of connection. I don't think we're ever going to have this kind of season again. With
you never know.
Well, not the
maybe
same
furlough.
way. Not the same way.
Yeah, probably not the same way.
You and I and a little baby.
Yep. Just having all this quality time together.
Quality time and rest and
yeah,
we are grateful.
We are grateful. And we are great. It's that it feels like lament, but like I think it's okay to lament the beautiful things too. Like, that was such a beautiful time in this place. I lament that I am leaving this time, even though I'm excited for the next time and I'm anticipating good in the next time. There's still just like that acknowledgement and goodbye or release of the time that was, that is very bittersweet because you're like, it was so good.
It's like finishing a really good book, knowing that you will never be able to read that book for the first time again.
Yeah.
You will be able to revisit.
Yeah.
But this experience of the story is coming to an end, and it was time for it to come to an end.
Yep.
But at the same time, you wish it would go on.
You gotta finish the book.
You gotta finish the book.
A book that's never finished. Not a book. It needs a cover, which means it has a front and a back.
Poetic.
Yeah. We'll cross-stitch that on a pillow. A book that never ends isn't a book. Quote Philip Mull.
Well, I liked that it's got to have a cover, a front and a back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm just full of beautiful poetry today.
Wisdom, deep and meaningful.
Yep. We'll go with that.
Yep.
All right. Because of the moving that's going to be happening in our lives, and the starting of new programs and lots of shifting, we may not be doing a live episode update next month. We've had one that's kind of just been in the back burner for a while that we recorded, and it's basically a year in review for Bible translation and for Wycliffe and just the work that we're going to be participating with. It's like, hey, here's what's been happening. Here's a lot of stories of what's been happening. Here's who's involved in what kind of stuff. So if you guys don't hear us giving you updates on what new life is like in where we're living, you will be hearing that instead. And know that we will be updating you guys. If not in September, in October.
But we do want to put the podcast at the beginning of the month.
Yes.
Next month.
Yes, we will.
Instead of in the middle. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. All right. We love you guys. And we are excited for the next time we get to update you.
Have a great week.
Bye.